wall replace, boom, one shot goes out. Someone else decides, you know what, I'm gonna try and go toe-to-toe with him right here, right now. Not the case, and it happens an additional time to which DRG says, all right, I'm just gonna go in the box. You know, this is the level we're playing at. If you want to make it to finals, that is the level you have to be. And right now with Aqua sitting in second with Nyrox, I mean, they're feeling it.
Yeah, and so also another thing to bear in mind as well, the point breakdown. So yesterday we saw high points, right? I think it was most regions were at 100 plus points. This time around though, we're seeing that be more on the lower scale there, right? Like 67, 66, a split here, very, very narrow. But speaking of that, the standings, you mentioned the Atlantis crew. You got DRG and Seth that are going to be in 9th place. You saw them in the highlight. Scram and Mexi, who were in that #1 spot, have dropped down, but they have 4 games remaining, which means that they could very well finish in the money, but it doesn't really matter for them because they're already going to go to New York City. And then it's about top 4. And as it currently stands, you got the Atlantis duo, you got Nyrox and Aqua, you got Provoked and Imagine, you also got Deader and Miz. These players all looking to try and make their way to New York.
And something we want to kind of talk about, let's break this down a little bit further. If you guys have been watching, you know exactly how we do this, and if this is your first time, we'll get you up to speed here. So something very important to take a look at is these games remaining, right? Right now, Atlantis, Kester, and Trippin, they're sitting at the top with 67 points, but they've played 9 games. That means they have 1 game left. Now, if we just go down the next, Aqua and Nyrox, they've played 7 games and already have 66 points. So they have a much larger window to work in, right? So let's say immediately Catcher and Tripper and jump into that last game and they get eliminated out the gate. That's it, their run is complete. That's not the case for the players in 2, 3, and 4th spot. Even coming down here, Aim Sons and Flutterboys, they have 62 points with 5 games remaining. In 5 games, they've gone 62 points.
They could do a lot with that. They could do a lot with that. And a lot of players, too, will look at the amount of games that you have left and think, well, maybe we don't need to play some of these games so that this way it kind of evens out our average a little bit better. But, you know, in the instance of the Atlantis duo, they only got 1 game remaining, 67 points. If they manage to hold on to top 4, that would be incredible. But it is going to be very difficult. But Zeke, thank you so much for the breakdown, my friend. Crazy stuff indeed. EU not done yet. We're going to have another block of games coming for you in just a little bit. It's a 5-minute break, so don't go anywhere. And when we return, more EU Fortnite.
Welcome back, Fortnite fam, to coverage of the Fortnite World Cup Online Open. We're here, week 4, means we're back with duos. Now, guys, I know what you want. That is games. We're not going to mince words. We're not going to stall like I'm doing right now. We're going to get in these games in just a moment. I'm just kidding. Let's get into the games. Monster, D, G, B, Boricua, boys!
Always coming out with something new there, Zeke.
Oh, my word. All right, well, what's up, everybody? So we have the EU games going on right now, as we had mentioned before, and we're going to be jumping into those in a little bit. But I think first and foremost, I do want to talk about, just the level of competition that we're seeing in this region, but also the points. Very, very low, right? Like, compared to what we saw yesterday, a lot of people were like, oh, man, everyone's racking up so many eliminations, but it's clear that everyone's trying to hit the placement as well as get those points on the elims, right?
And the points are low because you have people like Mexi and Scram who already qualified in there, just bullying the top 10. You saw those games out there. They're really out here shaking up the board. And I mean, honestly, this is what we expected, right? We expected these top tier duos to slow things down. On finals day, there's so much more riding on the line because, to get to that punch and ticket, right? To get to New York City, it's too much pressure.
Yeah.
You got to take your time.
Yeah, that's right. It's been quite the road indeed for a lot of these European players. And as I mentioned before, we're going to be jumping to the games in just a little bit. We're waiting for them to start up. And once they do, we will be right in the fun. But there have been some great moments. One thing in particular that we do got to talk about has been the Shadow Bomb, because we haven't really dived into this, and we'll break this down a little bit more. But let's jump into the action. Your next block of EU games. Well, let's talk about this Shadow Bomb, because this thing is really good. It's a really good utility weapon.
I know a lot of the pros kind of had the nerves on edge there whenever a new item or something gets introduced, but you got to give a nice little hat, right? A little hat tip to Epic and the Fortnite team, because the Flint Knock introduction has been a fantastic weapon so far, and now the Shadow Bomb. I genuinely stand behind the Shadow Bomb so far. What we've been able to see with it, three on the pickup is a little strong, because you have 3 full rotations mitigating the what could be a little bit of bad luck, right, against the Storm.
Yeah. When
you have those zone options and that mobility at your disposal, that's something that I can stand behind. That's part of the reason why I think Grappler, or Thought the Grappler, right, if it had a return, it had a small chance to make it on the scene in the current state of the game. But the Shadow Bomb, man, talk about the Shadow Bomb. Exactly. Look at that. Stompy completely disregards him now, right? Don't even want to fire at him. And Stompy, come on, he's a beast, man. The dude's already, made it on through as well. So when the best players recognize that, hey, Shadow Bomb's in play, there's not much you can do, they're gone like the wind.
You have a lot of movement options now in Fortnite, right? I mean, you got the baller, obviously, but you also have the launch pad. But then at the same time, you also have the geysers if they're available to you.
You have
the
Cannonball.
Rift to Go. You have a Cannonball, and then you now have the Shadow Bomb. There are a lot of options to be able to move around. And that, to me, I think is like the best part about it, because even the zip line too, right? It's not the cleanest, and it's not also the most reliable, but you can use the zip line if you want to, in case you need to be able to get from one place to another in a pinch. There are just so many options to be able to move around, and Stompy and Tachinkin, 2 players that have already qualified for the Fortnite World Cup final. They're going to be in these lobbies looking to cause a ruckus for any of these players. And unfortunately, one of those players is Craze, who ends up going down. Don't worry, bud, you don't suck. You're actually a really good player because you're here at this level of competition. But here you go. Stompy, along with Tachinkin, they're going to rotate out with their ballers, as we mentioned. Another of the movement options that have become very prevalent this season in competitive Fortnite.
Yep, they sure have. So I like what they do here. They kind of find a spot on the map. They land on the trees just so that way they can recycle a little bit for loot. But hopping on over to Yarden here, who's pressuring right through the wall. I love the tracking here. You can see the player clearly through the structure, through the little brick plank there. And this is a perfect time to put the pressure up, especially when opponents behind the ramp. But in comes some stinkers. That's going to back him off just a tad bit here.
Yeah, going to force him out of that angle that he was really loving to try and be a nuisance, but doesn't really pan out. His teammate Gems as well is going to be right on the outside, just exchanging some resources. 56 builds for Yarden. And look at this. You got a lot of players scattered about, but 2 players actually just going to be right outside. No protection, no coverage on that right wall. And Yarden goes right in for it. And now this guy's trying to play defense and get that wall replaced, Yarden, but doesn't snag it in time, but will reap the benefits of that elimination and then use a community launch pad to get on out of there and go to that safe part of the zone.
Yeah, you got to commend the teammate for knowing, like, hey, listen, you're down and you're kind of out here. So not to stick around and get on out and possibly win himself some points down the line. Best decision, that he can do in that situation. But that's why you don't leave these planks open. You don't leave these walls open. Like players like that, Super gets a huge hit right there.
Yeah, low ground warrior play without a doubt. You never see him coming right out of the grass. And Supra restabilizes in the box. That elimination will tick in a little bit. Does get the knock onto Gems, and then there's the elimination confirmation that will grant him the 100 on health and shields. And then even more to boot. I'm sure he would have liked that elimination to come through a little later because he ends up getting tagged. Boogie Bomb
what a boogie.
onto the baller, and he's going to take the baller and just get out of dodge because look at his HP. What was once a great situation for him has become rather dire. That was a heads-up play to just get that player out of the safe spot of the baller. Cop it, bounce out of there. Much respect. But up above, you got Poulter and Trox, who are playing that high ground control at the ultimate high.
I'm calling this the ozone layer from here on out because they are too high in the sky. This is where you want to be right here, guys. At the highest points, we've seen it day in and day out. The only players that lose while they're on the high ground is when they do not have a teammate. So with these 2 players working together here, this is a dominant spot. Let's see how many players they can pick off from the high point here. There it is. Oh, Trox actually gets pushed down.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate, but luckily for him, we'll have the minis to bring him back up to, at the very least, 150 players down low as well. That's going to be Tick, as well as Chubb and Verox, and Tachinkin goes up. He went right up for the fight, but ends up disengaging, going right back to Stompy so that they can work together. You also hear that minigun in the distance, putting down some shots. And
that was so gutsy.
Yeah, he's trying to just hold this up here, Monster, but this is not looking really good for him. And snags an elimination onto Zeke. There's another one down low.
No, that was a solid little push right there, catching him while he was distracted. Stompy has completely, disregarded the fact that they could have stood on the mid ground. They say, you know what, we're going to go all the way to low with the limited mats. And instead of waiting until the last moment, they go a little bit early, and now they're just putting in pressure on the low ground. This is their zone to make right here.
And Stompy wants to pop that big shield potion.
It's hard.
Yeah,
hard to find a moment.
At this point, I don't know when you're going to get that moment to do so. I think right now, yeah, this is his best opportunity, and he's going to rely on Tachinkin as well as the activity up above, courtesy of Verox from Fnatic, who picked up an elimination, and that is going to leave us in a top 6 for the duos. 8 players remaining in this game. One goes down to the bottom. The challenge is Supra, who had a big play earlier on, but it did not pan out for him. And Tachinkin and Stompy are owning the low ground.
And that's right, but Trox and Poulter still holding a strong spot. We knew that they were going to be up there for quite some time, and they have not letting it go. And there's another team that jumps down. It's Verox who goes down to the E11 duo here. Kuno goes down as well, and Chinkin is back in the game with max shield here. He's on Shadow Bombs trying to get high ground. He's got 3 of them. One has already been used. In goes the heavy sniper. Poulter's in a box with him.
Oh, this is not looking good, but the traps have gone down into Chinkin. Did he get the connection on that? Yes, he does, and now it's going to be Trox. And you mentioned this before, Monster. He said the only time that you're going to lose in those situations, lose that high ground, is if you end up losing the teammate in the fight. Tachinkin and Stompy have that low ground control, and now this is a point where it is looking really good for the E11 duo. Trox is in a bad spot. He has the health, but doesn't have the shields. And if this goes sour, there you have it. I was going to say, if they decide to just go and challenge for the fight, that was basically going to be easy pickings with that epic pump. And Tachinkin and Stompy do just that. Victory royale for the E11 duo.
Absolutely unfair. Unfair. They put the pressure down. They brought it straight to them in that little valley, right? They only had one option. The option was up. When he went up in the Shadow Bomb, it split him up. They didn't even notice that he was on the layer already.
That was a good call on your end, man. I mean, you need numbers. You got to I know it sounds funny, but you have to hold hands in those,
Yes,
in those scenarios, and especially in a duos game. Just
The only time it's kind of okay to split up is if one is going to go with a heal off, and that still, you have to split at the very last moments. They did it a little too soon, too early. They kind of pulled the trigger too soon on that veteran duo. Honestly, you can't do that to these vets. These guys will catch you and make you pay for your mistakes. But taking a look, we're in the next game, guys. We're hopping into the middle of the action with this European region here for the Fortnite World Cup qualifiers. This is finals days. If they can make it through to the last stages.
Pressure is on for all of these players coming up after this. We're going to have the Brazil games, or also NA East, NA West. These players all waiting to queue up. European region, though, has proven to be an incredibly
It's my favorite. It's always my favorite to watch.
Yeah, the players, they bring it each and every time. So, looking at this, we got 20 duos remaining, 37 players fighting, and there's that half in, half out circle there. Oh, and he pops in, busts right through the wall, and illegal. Well done from him. That was very impressive. Just charged in, but clearly had the beat on that player.
That was illegal. Broke and entered into that man's box.
Breaking and entering.
Breaking and entering at its finest right there. Like Lupo says, that heavy sniper can be the key to anyone's box, anyone's door, anyone's wall.
It is a
You're going to
universal
punch
key.
on through.
Crazy, man. How powerful that heavy sniper is, but you know, in the right hands, for some players it's good. In the hands of these players, it becomes deadly. And over here to
Dynamite.
Phoenix.
Jeez, we haven't seen Dynamite in play in quite some time. With the introduction of the Shadow Bombs, you see more utility instead of offense. These guys are putting it all out there. Let's see how aggressive they can be. Phoenix and Dex, they do have this mid layer, so there it is, those peaks we talk about, not running through your enemy's builds. I love the way they hold this layer and they put pressure down below. We see this more and more as players have gotten comfortable with being in these comfortable middle layers. They start to put pressure on players below them now.
I wonder if Phoenix is ever going to use that Dynamite. This is a heavily congested zone and could actually benefit from tossing a few of those out, and especially in a structure like that, could really bust through a few of those players' safe havens, prevent them from being able to stay alive in this matchup. But 18 duos left, only
here
two
comes the dynamic duo. Oh gosh. Boombo trade comes right in as they were trying to put down that offense. So here comes the Dynamite. You talk about, you want to see it. And oh boy, gets a quick peek. Dex is going to find some serious damage right there.
It's going to knock these players down potentially here and send them out, but they actually end up getting on top of the IG duo. And they have a rift to go when they need to pop it. They're going to be right in the center of this zone, which at times could be very bad because players, when they're in that center, just become magnets for the shots of enemy players.
Now the question becomes, was that little skirmish worth it? Because they wasted a fair amount of heals and stuff here. So half of their effective resource, more pressure comes down as they're putting it down on the players trying to get away from the storm line, desperately trying to run away. It's time to pop this rift to go. Do it nice and early so they don't get affected by the storm. That's a good time rift right there.
And they'll pick up the elimination as well from that straggling player.
And talk about, timing on the rifts. 4's ZR just kind of missed it right there. He's going to pay 30 health to the storm there.
Now look at where this zone is going, man.
Oh, boy.
It's over a ridge and then just a terrain elevation change that is so sharp in this snow region of the map. It's not like the hills where you can slide down. These are just straight up drops from these cliffs. But for ZR now, as we go to his perspective, only going to have one elimination. His teammate, Nowhere, has two. And has a decent amount of builds. Shadow Bomb, in case he gets knocked down, could use that Shadow Bomb to just keep himself going because you don't take fall damage from it. And he's going to be very high up. This is what I talk about.
This is what I talk about. He could choose to opt to fight the players to his left and right. Instead, he's focusing below him, using the explosive damage to get players that are below him. Nice swift edits here. Allow him to get just on out and shadow bombing again to get on out of there. He has 3 effective rotations at his disposal. That's obviously one being paid up.
Look at him. He's jumping up the walls. He's
gone. Yeah, he's trying to keep the effect going here.
He couldn't keep it going. He couldn't get up the walls quickly enough. But that was very impressive. You saw it there on screen at the corner there. But dual media blaster. He's going to eat some of that fall damage there. Player's going to be right in front of him, and he's going to gatekeep this one, prevent the player from trying to get out.
Now the question is, what kind of mobility these guys have? These guys are, remember, off the cliff. They're slowly going off the cliff. Not only that, they are very, very high. So to come down is going to be quite the struggle here. Let's see if they can reinforce just a bit. Jinzen using a ball is kind of hanging low there.
And look at this. All these explodes, man, just popping off, destroying all of these structures. And back over to 4ZR. And Smari's going to drop him in. Trapdoor. Ooh, that player builds that pyramid and keeps himself going, but almost Sparky goes in. And you always got to check your corners, bud. Because the trap was right there.
He tried to heavy through the wall instead walks into the second trap. It all worked out. May have not been calculated like that, but it does go in his favor. Little lady luck right there for him.
Works out, and maybe that's all you need when it comes to these insane scuffles here. But
high ground just got taken by Shadow Bomb. It was Darkcore, but when he comes out, he eats a pump to the chest. No more health on him as this dual media duo is pushing in on GL Darkarino. I'm sure he's gonna get taken out. No, Snatter comes up to the rescue, going for the high ground. Does not succeed.
Very unfortunate stuff there for the GL duo. They end up losing Snader, but Darkarino's still going to be in this one, as well as Jinzen. But it's Dual Media's duo of Blaster and Alpha that have that high ground control. And this is a very familiar situation that we have seen in the past. Bear in mind, Blaster, no more mats left to work with, as an Alpha only has 13, but has explodes. 120 blue on that connection with the Rockets. Those players are going to be tucked outside. Darkarino, goodbye. Good try there as well, and this guy is going to be boxed right outside. Victory Royale for Dual Media, Blaster, and Alpha. GG. And quite the exchange here at the snowy areas of this map, man. It is crazy. You have the sliding with the ice. You got the steep cliffs. There's just this is a rough zone to fight, especially in the end game. But the action doesn't stop, and we're going right back in to another matchup here in the European region. Players continuing to queue on and
Aries and Kylix. Aries and Kylix, two of the young duo right here. Aries, one of the younger competitors on the scene. We saw a glimpse of Airwalks and Nikov up there as well. I'm really rooting for these guys. Love their gameplay, love their duo synergy. Aries is one of these players that I talked to on social media. Nice job from Kylix here, but I see him on social media. He's got a positive outlook. He's not one to play the blame game. Instead, he's willing to learn from his mistakes and try to become a better player day in and day out. And this, when they have the confidence, this is scary because they know they're going to put down the pressure here. So Kylix is coming in to back up Aries.
Yeah, I do want to highlight, though, that it was off screen there as we were in that more overhead POV, but the Aries built out and blocked Kylix from being able to throw the stinker. So it's not the biggest deal because they did follow up with that elimination and then brought Kylix back up to 190 HP effectively. But those are just things that you got to be a little cautious of, and you need to just be a bit more synergized when you deal with this. But
ultimately, it did still work out because the Siphon came back to heal him.
Really, just pointing out that those are instances that in the late game you just got to be mindful of, But look at this. You talked about the coverage you can get with this. It is crazy. You can get with the Shadow Bomb, man.
Yeah, DM6 just got all the way across the map here, so they went to the half in, half out zone. This is zone 5, guys. They're effectively right in the middle, which will also give him favor to the next moving zone as well, and allow them to put all pressure on his players are now forced to move on in. You see Q there. I'm pretty sure Q, and you guys might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but they changed regions. I think they came from the Asian region to the European side.
I'm looking it up right now. Yes, so Ku is a player from South Korea.
That's insane.
Yes.
Coming from South Korea to Europe to have better odds, just player pool-wise for teams that can make it through during these weeks. European has the largest.
That's true, and
that's commitment.
And they're still performing very well. But we're over here back to the GW team, DM Sick, as well as Emzer. L2R2. You gotta love it. You gotta hit the L2R2. Okay.
Don't spam it. Don't spam it. Golden Boy knows about that.
Oh yeah, man. Although I am making the shift to keyboard and mouse now.
Sell out, guys. You're selling out.
It has been very difficult. I have very old hands. And it is tough. It is tough. But what is tough is also this gatekeeping that's being done by the GW duo, preventing these players, Hawkers and his teammate, from getting out. That's going to be a confirmed elimination. That's number 2 as far as points are concerned, but you got to get to that top 15 so you can start to earn some points. And there's 16 duos left, so one more duo needs to go, and you can already start to see it come to fruition as players have their backs against the wall.
This is the pressure zone. Zone 6 is the pressure zone. If you get there first, you get ahead of everyone, you can put them to the storm and really rack up on elims. But you gotta make it there. Sick gets caught out by Cheers and Lion on the rotation.
Unfortunate, Monster. Like, he was going up thinking, okay, we're good here to ramp up, and then just boom, like that's it. You end up losing it all. So they got to use that launch pad, get out of there.
Love it. He actually checks before he uses it, right? You don't see that very often. He actually clears the airspace and makes good usage of the launch pad in time.
He had time. That was the number one thing. He had time. Sometimes players, they're in that moment, they're going to the launch pad because the play is to just wait for that final moment to hit that launch pad. I think a lot of players are just recognizing now that these launch pads typically have been blocked out. So you just need to be a little bit more mindful. Exactly. But here's the Solary duo of Nikov and Airwalks with that legendary minigun. That is a devastating tool to have here in the late game. Can bust right through the walls, and they're just going to try and continue to play the defensive game here, Monster.
Last we checked, they were in 3rd on the standings, guys, with about 3 or 4 games remaining. So every single game matters. These are great positions to be in as they make it to the late game. 13 duos remain here. They want to break it into that top 5-ish areas, right? So they can get those extra points. And they get some placement and some elims. They need elims here. They're on 0 right now.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed as well, but there was a nice shot. Good shot there onto Derniko from Nikov. The player tries to open the door, but hello. You're going to get greeted the proper way by Solary's Nikov, who gets the second elimination. That's 2 points for them. They're looking pretty solid thus far. Bear in mind, you saw it in the feed that the WGS players are still going to be in this one too, but we got this more overhead view, and there's Horde, but Airwalks and Nikov, man, they destroy Maggle down low.
2v2, Airwalks and Nikov, 2v2'd straight up for the high ground there. Back to Lion and Cheers. We've already seen Lion putting in good work with Cheers here. They're going to get the Asian duo who's moved over to the European region here. There it is. That's the final shot right there on that second player. So Lion effectively takes out both of them by himself with pressure. He does not have a duo at this point.
Okay, he's got to be very careful, though. He's so low. And then you got Solary, Airwalks, and Nikov up above in the high ground. Kylex, who we saw a little earlier on, did pretty well, made it to the late game. And then you got, Bino or 3Eno. I mean, I don't know, but sorry, I'm going to kind of butcher your name there, but you can't blame me. It's a little confusing. But I like that. I like that Nikov and Airwalks are just campfiring out. They're just playing this more subdued game here, not trying to force things. Get the victory royale, get the 10 placement points because they have the high ground. A lot of these players are going to be very low. Lion is the only player that is going to be down low with a full 100-100. Actually, the only player with 100-100 as it currently stands has that life lead, but does not have a partner to keep himself in this game. And Lion getting hit with that shot. Nikov, Airwalk still going to be up above, owning the high ground, the ultimate high ground, and Lion's waiting inside of the pyramid. He goes right in, and he's going to pop Nikov, knocking him down a peg. 25 HP left for Nikov, and he's got to take a moment to just pop those minis so he can get back into the fight. Airwalk still going to be up above, looking for the players. Nikov goes into the scuffle, wants to get his hands a little bit dirty here, and perhaps he might just do that. Because you want to get in the action, and if he can get the siphon, he can keep himself going in this game. Players low. Armoid is going to be out of this one, and it's going to be left to this final player, 3Eno. But it seems like it's going to be the Solary duo who will pick up the victory royale if it keeps going like this. They know exactly where he is. They just got to break this structure down. force this guy out of the fight. There's Lion up above, though, and I thought that 3ino was the only one left, but it's Lion on the high ground, and it ain't gonna matter because that legendary minigun is gonna get the confirmation victory royale for Solarnikov and Airwalks.
For a second there, Lion almost had enough time and opportunity to pop off that med kit. The Solari duo pretty much gave up their ground for a second there and completely forgot about Lion.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it works out that he just didn't have enough health in that situation.
Crazy end game there, but Nikov and Airwalks have been very impressive week in and week out. Is this their week? But the action continues.
Their week.
And we're going back into the snowy region of the island here, and we got Gaming Kuno and Deco Home?
Yeah, Deco Home. He's been on the scene for a while, too. I think since the summer skirmish days. So another veteran on the scene here for the European boys. Gaming Kuno, one that I haven't heard much of. Let's see how these guys kind of work together as we canvas the map here. Take a look at all of your duos. Vitaly Kioli, you talk about people that have been around for a while. This duo right here as well, playing with Hawkers, Shadow Bomb rotation. There's a team landed right above them. What's going to happen here?
Yeah, what is their play? What is their approach? And Keolis is going to go in. Oh, trapdoor, trapdoor, drop him down. Alex MVP. Oh, man. No, not feeling like an MVP there, I'll tell you that much. That trap confirmation elimination, very well done by Keolis.
That's going to be a big upgrade here. Now he's got a nice little shotgun delivery, looking to put some pressure back with the Splodes here on the teams that are out on the backside, putting pressure on them. So they're in the optimal situation here. They're already ahead of the zone. They don't have to burn any more resources. They're actually sitting on a chunk of resources because they got the Elim just a bit ago there. So that's going to work out for a bit for them.
Going now into the overhead POV, seeing who's in this matchup. We got 26 duos remaining, so quite a ways to go before those players start to earn placement points. Oh, man, and that is a gray,
you know what?
Heavy AR, man.
And that was patience right there. So you notice when he opened and sent the rocket on in, he stopped firing once the wall was cracked open because he doesn't want to break any of the structures. A lot of people will get a little greedy and overfire their medium ammos and break the back walls, and the rocket won't get the thirst. So just that little bit of patience right there, if you guys, you know, it's the smallest differences, but the big differences that make these competitive pros stand out.
Hey, man, it's all in the details, you know?
I see it all, man. It makes me geek out over this stuff right here.
Oh, I know. I see it. And I don't blame you because it's very impressive. I had mentioned earlier when we were talking about the Asian region and the mechanics, let's not forget that when it comes to competitive gaming, Europe is just, yeah, they're on another level. There's a reason why in some games, the European players have won event after event after event, and I will not be shocked to see that be the same thing in Fortnite with the way that these players play this game. And not to take anything away from the North Americas, but there's a lot of talent in the European region across all the different countries. And right now we're looking at Tick and T-Chub here, who have snagged themselves an elimination or two, but also I like the fact that he's using that bush.
Yeah, that was a perfect way for that battle to play out, for him to not take any damage and still effectively leave with the bush. Nice Elim right there. This is a big frag for him. Yup, he's going to need that. He tries to get some loot as things are scattered here. Is he going to be able to find a way out? There is no way you get out of this one, unfortunately. Newbie is going to leave all that in the storm.
Very unfortunate, but the storm will claim him. And we saw Tick and T-Chub just a second ago. They're still going to be in this game, surviving that rotation. Look at this zone, by the way. It's a canyon. It's a canyon. And there's, you know, one side obviously is being more favored than the other, but that is just a crazy. Every time
Take a look at the ozone layer as players are flying down for the rocket Tick. Are we going to see another collateral here unfold? Yes.
It was
Tick catches a few players as they are flying down.
Oh no! No, okay, he's got the rider. He's
someone
got the
had it.
deploy.
Is it enough though? Nope. Still falls to the hands of T-Chub and Tick here, as they are now looking to secure the high ground. That's theirs to push up. They've cleared out most of the threats up above. Is there anyone left? They'll find out in just a bit here. There it is. Someone with a baller took the ultimate high at this point.
They are all
This is
the
the ozone layer now, guys. Look at Flood of Moors is in the ozone, guys. He's so high. Do a little science.
Well, look at all the players down low, by the way, man. Look at where this zone is going. There is just no real estate to work with here, man. This is crazy. This is rough, but Wizite ends up going down there courtesy of Kami, and Kami now is going to be on the run, just trying to stay alive and restabilize.
Yeah, Kami needs to pop some bandages. Unfortunately, he does cancel the tick there. He forgets that he could have used a second of that threshold from the storm to pop it off, so he'll be okay. There it is. He can only pop one more. At this point, all that matters is catching eliminations and bouncing back in the game. Alliance still holding a high ground. I don't think Flutter's up there anymore. You can see they don't have any walls built around them.
Oh,
Hawkers comes right into a double shotgun shot from T-Chub and Tick. And back to the low ground we go as we're looking at the most congested area. Ewan, who gets Dalo, IMS Dalo right there. Nicely done.
I would say Hawkers was one of those nope moments where you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go to the nope. Okay, I'm just going to go right back down. Ewan needs to be very careful, taking a lot of damage to the storm. The storm will claim the victims. He also has to be mindful of the player that was going to be behind him there. And I wouldn't be shocked to see him fall and so dangerously low on HP. But we go back up to the high ground now as we got Tick and T-Chub who continue to patrol up here and forcing players into really difficult positions.
Wow.
And will reap the benefits of where this safe zone is going to be placed. The storm is claiming so many players and forcing players to have to make plays that I'm sure they normally would not want to. 5 players remaining, Monster.
Yeah, they're actually fighting their own congestion and their own builds here with so much being built all around them. T-Chub and Tick are, kind of playing it really textbook. Don't want to give up too much position here. They're close enough to one another to put this pressure down. There's only a couple players remaining. 3 duos remain, so there isn't a 2-team. That's probably the only solo. There it is, Edwin. So now we have a 2v2. The first team to make Era is going to be the one to go down first.
A good old-fashioned 2v2 game here between the TQ duo of Naranj and Zohan. We're going to be low, and they will manage to get to the cliff, which is good for them because they don't really need to take advantage of the floor, I should say.